Yo, what's up guys? Universal Mastery. So what I do on my channel is I break down the occult sciences to an extremely practical level so that you can use them in your day-to-day life and get real, actual results. So what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is something that I think is going to offer a lot of people value. And this is something that you should and need to know when you pursue your path of learning about the esoteric sciences and learning how to do your own types of rituals, your own types of spells, in just applying your own magic. This is something that you definitely want to know. So what we're going to be talking about in today's video is how creative can you get with your magic. Okay, so once again, in terms of making your own rituals, setting up your own meditation space, doing spells, anything in that nature, okay? How creative can you get? If you want to know, stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is definitely make sure you go and check out the Patreon. On my Patreon, I have 50% of videos. So it is going to be a half and half. Half of the videos are going to be geared towards actually getting your hands and feet wet. So actual practices. So I have a literal video breakdown of me showing you how to do an invocation, which means how to communicate with a specific spirit using a sigil, and I share the techniques that you use. And if you apply what I share on the video, then you should get 100% success rate as long as you are consistent with it. So I have videos like that. I also have chakra empowerments, things in that nature, getting your hands and feet wet. And then the other half of the videos are going to be educational entertainment, which are very similar to this video. Okay, so on my Patreon, I'm dropping videos weekly. So the videos that I'm dropping weekly are not going to be on my YouTube channel. So you have to at least be a tier 2 member to gain access to these exclusive videos. And in order to be a tier 2, it literally costs $9.95, which literally comes out to less than $1 a day. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford it with all the value that is already on my Patreon and that is going to be on my Patreon. Trust me. As of right now, I'm breaking down the Tree of Life. For those of you that don't know, the Tree of Life, the Sephiroth, the Qlipoth, it is the foundation of the occult. It is literally like the schooling. It is the system that governs the universe, the laws of the universe. So I'm breaking down every single sphere of the Tree of Life, starting from Malkuth going up, and I'm sharing all my notes. I spent a lot of time writing notes on each sphere, and then after I share my notes, I'm sharing my experience, or even when I'm going through it, through my notes, I'm also sharing my experience on top of it. So I'm giving you an actual perspective of what these spheres are actually like, not just from a theoretical standpoint or a scientific standpoint, but also from personal experience, because I've worked through these spheres myself. So that's what I'm doing right now. I literally have a video that's uploading right now for Yesod. So definitely, if you're interested on that, if you're interested in the occult and you want to take this art a little more serious, then you definitely need to know about the Tree of Life. So definitely make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And as you go up in tiers, there's also different benefits. The benefits get better and better and better. So I'm going to let you check that out for yourself. Where you're going to find the Patreon is the very first link in the description. So definitely make sure you go and check that out. Other than that, I'm going to go right into the video though. So this is the thing. So how creative can you be with your magic? Okay, so let me start by saying, there's a common idea where when you first start getting into magic, when you first start getting into ritual works, when you first start developing yourself spiritually, right? Like, a lot of people spend a lot of their lives not really doing any of this stuff. They don't do meditations. They don't think about magic. They don't think about ritual. They don't think about spells. So once you kind of break that barrier and then you're new to it, you're like new to how this stuff works, a very common idea or a very common thing that I see in other people, and I've done myself, was I thought there was all these certain types of limits. And what I mean by that is that I thought there was like certain types of boundaries that if I did it this way, then it wouldn't work. But if I followed this rule book, or if I did it how this person wrote it down and how this person, did it, then I would get success. So that's very common when you first start. You think that you really don't know how magic fully works. You don't know how ritual fully works. You don't know how to necessarily manipulate certain types of energies and frequencies right off the bat. So you look for other types of works. You look for other people's, you could look at other people's types of meditations. You look at other people's spells and rituals and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, not at all. You know, you can find some very potent information from doing that. Absolutely, I do that myself. But the truth is that it's not, you know, by using someone else's ritual, by using someone else's spell, or using someone else's meditation technique, that isn't the only route you can take. So the key is to realize that everything that you do when it comes to, you know, these certain types of techniques with meditation, ritual, spell, and so forth, it's all coming from your imagination. And what it really is doing is it's stimulating your subconscious mind to understand, you could say, to understand what's going on while you're channeling energy, or while you're imagining certain things coming to fruition, or certain things that whatever it is that you're intending on happening during your ritual or meditation or spell work, whatever it is. So what I'm saying is you can get extremely creative with creating your own types of rituals, or your own types of spells, or your own types of meditations. So it's not, you know, it is no longer, oh, you have to use somebody else's, you know, you have to use somebody else's book because they must know certain things that I don't know, and that means that, you know, if I tried to make one, it wouldn't work. The key, the truth to this is absolutely, if you're new and you're a beginner, then yes, you want to use other people's works. You want to use other people's meditations, rituals, spells, etc., because it's giving you an understanding of what are the properties that they're using. What are they using as symbolism? You know, what kind of spirits are they channeling? Things in that nature. It is definitely beneficial. But even a beginner could start off with creating their own environment of, you could say, like ritual tools. And if they performed a ritual that was created by themselves using their own symbolism, as long as they know about symbolism, as long as they can imagine that what they're doing is actually doing something powerful, that's literally all you really need for the intent, then it can be extremely potent. So what I'm saying is that, you obviously want to study, you want to dive into the occult, you want to learn about symbolism. Symbolism is important. It is going to be extremely important because, once again, you're triggering your subconscious mind to recognize certain things, and then you can translate that symbolism of why you have these certain things in your ritual space. If you decide to, set up, create your own ritual space and create your own types of spells, meditation, or ritual. So, for example, if I have, let's say, I have a green candle, I have a yellow candle, I have a red candle, I have a blue candle. So to the average person that doesn't really know about the occult, they're thinking, oh, you have different color candles, cool. But in my mind, I'm seeing earth, air, fire, water. Okay, so I'm utilizing the elements. And in my mind, because I understand the occult and I worked with the elements, I understand what the elements feel like. So earth is a certain type of perspective. Okay, that's really what the elements are. It's like a certain type of perception. So when you're viewing life, the world around you, from an earth perspective, you're seeing things differently. You're seeing things in a more grounded sense, in a more physical sense. Okay? And then when you're seeing things from the air perspective, the sword, if we're going to link it up with the tarot, that's another symbolic connection. But if I'm seeing things from the sword perspective, the air perspective, then things are going to be very expansive for me. It's going to be very like communicative. Like I can speak and just expand people's awareness, or expand what it is that I'm trying to put out there. Expanding. Air is just, air is everywhere. It's expansive, and that's a perception. It's like I'm going to be expansive. Let's say I'm working on my my YouTube channel. I'm just expanding all the outlets or avenues that I can get my videos out there to other people. So maybe I'm creating extra content for different platforms so that I can expand the awareness of my channel and the awareness of my message. Okay, and then if we're talking about water, the perception of what water would be like is very emotional, very feeling, very receptive. Let me hear what you have to say. Let me listen to the emotion behind what you're saying, and let me feel into this. Let me feel what it is that's going on here, so that I can make a good decision for myself based on how I feel about it. Getting in touch, you could say, with the emotions, linking that with my intuition, so that I can feel like I'm making the right decision when it comes to me, when I have to make a decision. Things in that nature. And then fire, if I'm viewing the world from a fire perspective, I'm standing right here and I'm able to speak to you and look at you dead in your eyes and say exactly what I need to say, because fire is burning through. Okay, you're not gonna like say something to me that's gonna make me like, whoa, like I'm not gonna be afraid. I'm gonna walk right up to you and tell you exactly what I think, exactly how I feel, and I'm gonna say it with extreme confidence, with fire. Dragons breathe fire, and it's just gonna be right at you. Okay, so this is just a small example. This is why I use those candles in my rituals, because it represents the 4 different elements for me, and then I represent the 5th element, which is the spirit, the higher self, the holy guardian angel, the daemon. Okay, so when this video is not gonna be too much longer. So when I go to use anything, okay, I can use, like, for example, I could use a seasoning, right? I could use a seasoning that has a certain name on it. Okay, let's say I'm setting up a type of ritual, and let's say I want to receive fast results. Okay, let's I'm going to change it up a little bit. Let's say I want to receive a fast result from my ritual. Okay, meaning I want to see it fast. I want to manifest quickly. I could use coffee grains, and I can place that, on a plate. I could place it on a candle. I can place it where I feel like I want to place it. And what that represents, what the coffee grains represents, is fast. We can all understand that caffeine is quick, and when you drink coffee, you feel a little more alert. It heightens your senses a little bit. So if I'm using the coffee for that intention, that I want to speed this process up, speed this ritual up, or whatever the intention of my ritual or spell or meditation is, that's what that coffee grains, me putting it on top of whatever it is that I'm putting it on top, either the plate, the candle, whatever, that's what it's representing. So that is actually going to take a form in the astral plane. That's actually going to mean something and cause this process to speed up. Okay, and you can use all kinds of things. So like that was one example. You can use coffee, right? And then let's say you're doing something where you want someone to feel good about you. You want someone to be into you. You want someone to really hear what you have to say and be somewhat attracted to you. Well, guess what I can use? I can use honey. Honey is sweet. Okay, it's very sweet. So I can place this honey down on a plate or on a candle, whatever it is. And my intention while I'm doing it is that this person, whoever it is that I'm directing this towards, or this group of people, maybe, I don't know, it depends on what you're doing and why you're doing it. I want them to feel sweet towards me. I want them to see me from that perspective of honey. Like, ooh, that's good and sweet. I want more. And this is all right now. What we're talking about is we're talking about energy. Okay, so there is an archetype of how people view honey. People view honey as being sweet. So if I add that into my, my spell, my ritual, my meditation, and that's my intention of taking that archetype almost from this substance of honey, then I'm actually tapping into something energetically. Like there is an actual energetic resonance to what honey represents. and it has its own frequency, and I'm tapping into that. So that means that, and I'm aware of it, so subconsciously I'm triggering that as well, because I understand the symbolism. I understand that honey's sweet, and that I can affect my ritual by placing the honey, and then that will affect the people that I intend on affecting based on what it is that I want from that, like the sweetness of it. Then I'm tapping into that subconsciously, and it is literally going to send a frequency out, and it will affect that person, because in the astral plane, past, present, and future doesn't exist. It's just all right now. So it's gonna go, and it will affect that person. And depending on the more you put into your ritual or your meditation or your spell, the more time, the more energy, the more symbolism, the more powerful it's going to be. So the more it's actually going to affect your target, or maybe yourself. Maybe you want to use honey to make yourself sweeter. Maybe you've been feeling like you're a little bit like, I don't know, maybe too rigid, and you're using it to make yourself a sweeter person, more attractive, just more sweet. So that's another example. This is my last example that I'm going to give. Let's say we use honey again, but from this perspective, I'm not using it to be sweet, but I'm using it to be sticky, because we know that honey is sticky. So let's say that there's someone that I want, that let's say I'm doing this ritual, and I want someone, so let's say that someone's kind of giving me like a little bit of a hard time. Right, they're kind of just stepping on my toes, and they're really in this like competitive mindset, and really I'm just trying to focus on my own path and go my own direction, but this person keeps on insisting that they come and interfere with my workings. So I could use honey from a different perspective as slowing that person down, because it's sticky, like that person's trying to get in my way, but now they're getting stuck. They're getting stuck to the honey. It's sticky. So now I'm thinking of when I'm placing that honey down, wherever I'm placing it, on the plate or the candle or whatever, they're now getting stuck, and that's my intention. It's slowing them down. So by that simple intention shift, and by that simple perspective shift of going from, the last example, from sweet to now sticky, that's going to change the entire energetic frequency that I'm tapping into. That's going to change the entire outcome of what this ritual is going to produce. Okay? And as you can see, I used the same thing, the same substance. I used honey for both of those, but I got a different result from both of those rituals, and you will get a different result. It all depends on what you know with your symbolism. If you understand that you can use honey, and you can use it for that sweetness, and you can also use it to have someone stuck, that's all it takes. That's understanding what your mind is capable of and what you can do. And you're aware enough to realize that people view honey as being sweet. You view honey as being sweet, but people also view honey as being sticky. And you also understand that honey can be sticky because you probably have experienced it before. So this is how creative you can get with your rituals. And this is just a small example. You can use anything that has, and you could say that if you want to bring anything into a meditation or ritual or a spell that you feel like can have a specific result towards something, then you can do that. There are literally no rules to this. You can create anything you want. Just the one thing that I would recommend is that you understand what you're doing. So if you're gonna bring something in, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, because you can choose anything. If you're gonna bring something into your ritual, spell, or meditation, then at least understand what that is doing for your outcome. What is that doing to aid your intention? That's all you need to know for it to actually work. And the more you bring in, the more symbolism you bring into your workings, the more potent your outcome is going to be. And that's a fact. So other than that, guys, I'm going to leave it here. I definitely think I covered what I wanted to cover. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. It's going to be right down there. Then go and hit the subscribe button. Then go right above that, hit that bell, hit that notification bell, because I'm posting videos as often as I can. And for sure, make sure you go and check out the Patreon. Once again, you're going to find it at the very first link at the top of the description. It says My Patreon. Then you go to the second link below. It's going to take you to Streamlabs merch, where you can place an order for a Hecate Sigil shirt. If you place your order, they will literally ship it right to your door. Then you go to the third link below. That's going to take you to the Facebook community. When you get to the Facebook community, when you click that link, it's going to say a pinned post that says private group. Click that, request to join, I'll add you in. And yeah, on my Facebook, on my private Facebook, what I do is I post a little bit of extra content. Right now, my main focus is building the group up. I want to get at least like 50 people in it before I start posting consistently. But every now and then I'll post like a little quote here and there. So that's what it's all about. So definitely make sure you check that out. But other than that, guys, once again, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the night wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.